Hey Vikings fans, welcome into another episode of the Skol Hop. I'm Evan.
And I'm Austin.
We're just a couple of dudes from Iowa. We like drinking beer. We like talking about the Vikings.
Yeah, we do. Skol. We're getting better. It's just a solid Skol. Yeah. We've had a few really good ones and a few duds, but that was a pretty decent one.
I get worried because these glasses aren't the thickest, and I keep wondering one of these days if we'll...
Don't tell me that, because I'll make that happen.
Okay. Well, I like these glasses. So.
Yeah, you probably like your carpet too.
I do.
If you ever log in and you see a little bucket between us, you know I'm going for it. And then we both have to get stitches, and that'll be a Patreon exclusive clip or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we'll go viral with that one. That'd be kind of fun.
I don't know. We can't go any more viral than the Keaton Mitchell leg bending backwards thing.
It was a pretty gruesome video.
Yeah. Well, we have a tradition on this podcast.
We do. Of
drinking Iowa exclusive beer. And Evan, you procured the beer for us this week.
I did, with your help.
Well, kind of, yeah. I guess we decided together.
So the story is, and we kind of shared this on our TikTok when we reviewed the beer
a little
bit ago, but yeah, go over to TikTok and check us out there. Because we always do a quick little beer review before our episode. So if you're kind of curious as to what we're having on the episode, or just want to get a sneak preview of the episode, that's where you can find it.
Or YouTube Shorts as well.
Yep. But anyways, I went to the grocery store. What was it? Friday night. It was Friday night. And didn't expect to see you there. But there you were with a bottle of vegetable oil in hand.
Yeah.
And you were perusing the wine and spirit section at our local grocery store. And I said, hey, let's pick out a beer for the episode next week.
Yeah.
And you were like, all right, let's do it. So we kind of scanned the shelves, and, we saw a lot of beer on those shelves that we've already had.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like just checking, like, yep, had that one. But we've always tried to keep it fresh and new, and we've never doubled up on a beer. So we were looking for something new. And I pointed out this brewery from Clinton, Iowa, Great Revivalist.
Okay.
And we saw another brewery too, and I narrowed it down to those two, and I said, why don't you pick?
Yeah.
And so,
what was the other one? They were from Muscatine.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Maybe next time we'll figure it out.
We'll Google that and make sure that we give a shout out to them, because they deserve that too. And maybe we'll have one of those.
Eventually, we're going to have all of the Iowa breweries and all of their beers, and then make a beer ourselves.
That's right. Stay tuned for that one.
Yeah.
But we landed on the Trippin Hazy IPA from Great Revivalist out of Clinton, Iowa. And it's pretty good so far, I would say.
Yeah, I'm liking it a lot. It's definitely like a hazy IPA. It's less of that orange juice color that you normally see with the hazy IPA. A darker color in a good way. I'm really digging this beer. It has a heavier flavor than your traditional, like, I don't know, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like juicy hazy IPA, something like that. But I like this a lot, and I haven't had it before. I don't think you haven't had this one before either. No. This is definitely in my wheelhouse of beers, more so than your wheelhouse. But I think we both like it.
Yeah, I like. We were saying this right after we finished our TikTok filming, as we were kind of getting set up here, and I just said, it's complex. It's a little more interesting than your typical hazy IPA. A lot of those hazy IPAs, they kind of just like smack you in the face. They're very bright and florally, and
those Citra hops. This tastes like it's got more than just Citra going on.
Yeah,
in a good way.
Yeah, it's more mellow, which maybe by the name would lend itself to that. Trippin.
Yeah, there you go.
A little more relaxed, a little more. I don't know how to describe it yet. I'm not a great beer describer yet.
We're getting there.
But
26 episodes in, we're getting there.
Yeah. So I like it a lot. I think I could definitely have a few of these.
Oh, yeah. And at 7.3%, those few they can start catching up to you.
Yeah, might want to limit it to a few.
Yeah. But great Revivalist. I don't believe I've had any of your other beers. Honestly, friend of the show Forrest could tell me if I have or not. But yeah, your Cloud Trippin. It's doing pretty good. It's a good name. I haven't really thought about the name. That's a good name.
Yeah. Good stuff. The can art's pretty cool too.
Oh yeah.
Kind of that like pop art style.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I like it.
Good stuff. We'll give another quick update once we're done towards the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Let people know how things are going. But first we got to pay the bills.
For sure.
So
yeah.
Do
So
that.
today's episode is brought to you by Big Top Ventures. To get the best rates on all-inclusive resorts in Mexico and Jamaica, go ahead and send an email to bigtopventuresllc@gmail.com. Again, that's bigtopventuresllc@gmail.com. And just let them know you're interested and what their rates could be. And I think if you kind of have an idea of what an all-inclusive in Mexico or Jamaica might cost, you will probably be pleasantly surprised with their prices. I say it all the time. I'm a customer. Will be a customer again. I like them a lot.
There you go. I'm hopeful to be a customer.
Yeah. And all you got to do, send an email to bigtopventuresllc@gmail.com.
That's right.
So thanks, guys.
It's on my to-do list. Well, we've got Pro Bowl, Super Bowl that we can talk about. Admittedly, neither of us really watched any of the Pro Bowl.
I was aware of some of the stuff, but yeah, I didn't watch the actual flag football game or whatever they had going on. But there's some talkers there, and Super Bowl, we got a few things we can talk about.
I think if we start with the Pro Bowl, I think the fact that as avid of fans as we are, the fact that neither of us really paid much, if any, attention to the Pro Bowl might say something about the effectiveness of the Pro Bowl itself. And
that's true.
The changes they've made to that, because truthfully, this was the first weekend that I didn't really watch football or care about football since July or August.
Well, and I didn't watch it, but I definitely made a comment or two about how there's no football today, on Sunday. It was a kind of a sad day. I didn't get to have my couch nap watching playoff football, like it was sad. But I mean, it was football like entertainment on TV. I just didn't watch any of it.
And yeah, I didn't watch much of it either.
Yeah. I do know the NFC, I'm pretty sure they won. The score was super high, so again, probably would have helped if I would have watched it to know how they scored, how they played the game. I'm pretty sure Baker Mayfield won MVP or offensive MVP or whatever it was. So that's nice. Daniil Hunter, his tug of war team beat the AFC's tug of war team. And Aiden Hutchinson got a lot of attention there. If you go back and watch that 2-minute video, the announcers just gush over Aiden Hutchinson and how he was jumping up and down, pulling. They were saying that he did all the work himself, but I don't know. There's some big dogs on that NFC tug of war team. So I don't know. That's kind of interesting, but yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head for us to be so avid of fans. And
well, and we talked about it a little bit last week on episode 25, like it just seems like they've tried so many different things, and to some extent I think they've kind of alienated the fan base from watching it. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm in the minority of NFL fans that didn't really engage with it. And I didn't not engage with it because I didn't want to. It was just I was busy. I had other stuff going on, and it wasn't a priority for me. Yeah. Vikings games are a priority for me, and even the playoff games and the Super Bowl, I will intentionally not schedule things around that time so that I can watch those. But the Pro Bowl is just different.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I'm a fan of, I like when people try out of the box things, even down to like when teams change up their uniforms, and maybe they're not the most traditional, but they're unique, like the Buccaneers uniforms of, the 2000 teens or whatever. Like I like when businesses and teams and stuff try different things. So usually this kind of Pro Bowl trying new things, that would be right up my alley, but I don't know. Like It doesn't. I think the fact that it doesn't actually matter to anything other than knowing the players that got the honor of being Pro Bowlers, maybe that's what does it for me. It just kind of feels like a preseason game in the off season, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That I will say some of the skills challenges that they've added and some of the other fun entertainment things have been fun, like dodgeball. I saw that kind of infamous picture of Kirk and JJ on one side with Stefan Diggs in the foreground. Yeah. And the caption was something like, "This is a legendary picture," or something like that.
This picture hits too hard.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Like every time you see it, you're like, oh, because I'm pretty sure the NFC won that match.
Yeah, and that was at least a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
but yeah, that stuff like that's cool. Did you see the Andrew DePaula, like
I did see
quarterback
the long
skills
snapping
challenge almost, just long snapping?
Well, I saw him and I saw Jason Kelsey, and Jason Kelsey only went for the 5-hole right in the middle, and it was like the smallest, but right down the middle, and he only got one, and he looked really mad when he was done. And then DePaula like tried to mix it up, and I think he ended up winning it for the NFC.
I think so. Yeah,
he needed like 6 points, and I think he got 7 to win it. So
stuff like that's kind of fun.
That was fun. But I mean, truthfully, that's that and some of the flag football game that I caught while I was out with some other people. That was about it. That's all I watched. Yeah, for Pro Bowl festivities. So,
well, hopefully next year there are more Vikings in the Pro Bowl. We had officially 3, but CJ Ham was an alternate, so he still made it. He was still there.
Yep,
brought his family. And I'm really glad that I realized a few weeks ago CJ Ham is still under contract through next season. So it's probably not going to be the last we're seeing is CJ Ham with a Viking logo on his chest, which is nice. Hopefully we see some more Daniil Hunter with a Viking logo. And Andrew DePaula, I mean, he's getting up there as far as NFL players go, but his position is such a non-contact specialized position, even more so than like kicker or punter. DePaula could play a few more years, so I don't know what his contract looks like, but
I'd say as long as he's healthy, keep him around. He's proven that he's a very good asset on special teams for sure. So,
Yep. All right. Well, Super Bowl. We're just a few days away from Super Bowl. What is this one? 50 something? I don't know. We should know this.
Started in 66 was the first Super Bowl. So that was the year my
you're
dad
going
was
all the way
born.
back.
Well, I just go by when my dad was born, because he was born in 66, the same year as the Super Bowl. So it's 58.
Nice. Okay.
Right? Because 2016 or 2026, not 2016, 2026 will be Super Bowl 60.
Okay.
Right. So backtrack 2 years. Here we are. 58.
Right. Assuming that's all true and accurate, Super Bowl 58. It's a rematch from a few Super Bowls ago.
Unfortunately.
We got the Chiefs and the 49ers. The Chiefs, obviously, this will be their 4th Super Bowl appearance within a 5-year span. And I think they won against the Vikings in, I want to say, Super Bowl 3.
4.
Was it 4?
Pretty sure it was 4.
Yeah, because the Packers won the first couple. And then, I don't know. Yeah, so
Cowboys might have been in there somewhere.
Maybe the Jets maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Be.
But yeah, I do know the Chiefs beat the Vikings in the Vikings' first Super Bowl appearance. And I'm pretty sure that game hadn't yet been called the Super Bowl. Like if you got in time machine, went back in time and attended that game, you wouldn't hear the word Super Bowl.
I know the first Super Bowl wasn't the Super Bowl. It was the AFL NFL championship game. But I think pretty early after that they adopted the term Super Bowl.
So then maybe
I don't know exactly.
Vikings Chiefs one was the first one they named the Super Bowl. But I do know when they started calling it the Super Bowl, they went retroactively, and because they decided to play the championship game between the AFL and NFL champions and that was the ultimate championship game. But
Mm-hmm.
once they decided to name it the Super Bowl, they went retroactive and we're like, okay, we're 4 into this, so this one will be Super Bowl 4, or whatever number it was.
And maybe this will garner some flack on the internet, and that's fine. I can take it. We can take it. But I'm pretty sure the Vikings still claim an NFL championship for winning the game before that Super Bowl 4 against the Chiefs.
Yeah, maybe.
Because maybe to your point, the Super Bowl wasn't what we equate the Super Bowl to be today.
It was a pre-merger game.
And I don't even, when was the merger?
Like
70?
in the 70s, early 70, if not 1970. So,
Well, because, that Super Bowl 4, Vikings Chiefs, would have been in 1970. It would have been January, February 1970.
So yeah, for all the people listening that have access to Google right now, I mean, you're laughing at us because we are recording on my Google device right here, Google accessible device.
I lost my phone. That's what I was looking for a minute ago.
It's right over there on the bookshelf above our Big Top Ventures hat. But yeah, so either way, the Vikings lost to the Chiefs in a Super Bowl. But all that to say, I think that is the only other Chiefs Super Bowl appearance prior to 2020. And I might be wrong about that. But yeah, the Chiefs are on their 4th appearance in 5 years. And they are currently 2-1 in those appearances. Their 4th one obviously hasn't been played yet. The Niners, they're a historically great team. They had the domination of the 80s and 90s, and they've had some big down years, but overall they're a dominant team. They've been in the NFC Championship game the same number 4 times in the last 5 years. It's just they've only made the Super Bowl, well, now twice, which it'd be nice if we could say the Vikings had been to an NFC Championship game 4 times within a 5-year span, but maybe someday.
It was 1970.
Okay.
They merged, AFL, NFL merged before, so perhaps, we'd have to do some more research, but perhaps that first Super Bowl that the Vikings were in
was the first one they verbally acknowledged as a Super Bowl.
Yeah. It was now Super Bowl 4, but back then.
Yeah.
We don't know. But anyways, definitely interesting matchup. I think it's this year's Super Bowl, coming Back to the Future now. Back to the Future, my favorite movie.
Back to the Future 3, best movie of all time.
I think I saw, before the conference championship games, there was a picture going around of, the matchup everybody wants, the matchup nobody wants, the matchup the NFL wants, or something like that, or the matchup that's in the script. And I think this was the matchup that was in the script.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Perhaps. I think the matchup everybody wanted was Taylor Swift, which they kind of got that, I guess.
They definitely did.
Or maybe the Lions and the Ravens.
Maybe. What were the logo colors? Purple obviously was one of them. Was red the other one?
Yeah.
So I still think the script was the Vikings and the Chiefs. And it's just that the script didn't account for Kirk to blow his Achilles.
Shouldn't that be a part of the script?
That it should have, but they didn't plan for it. So maybe Kirk got a little cocky in those script meetings with his shirt off and the chains on with Keegan-Michael Key. No, but so a question for you.
All right.
Well, kind of a 2-part question. In this Super Bowl, who do you want to win? Who are you rooting for? Who do you think will win?
I'm rooting for the 49ers.
Okay.
Because I'm tired of the Chiefs. And I don't really care for Patrick Mahomes. I think I've said that on this podcast before. We spent a lot of time in our early episodes talking about the quarterback series. And so if they win, fine, whatever. Yeah. I won't be upset. It wouldn't be like the Packers winning the Super Bowl. That would just irritate me.
Or even the Lions making it there.
Yeah. So I want the Niners to win just because the Chiefs are turning into little Patriots. I mean, they are as dynastic as New England was.
They're definitely getting there.
Yeah. So I want to break that up. I don't like that. I like the parody of the NFL. It's anybody's league. Anybody can win at any time, and the Chiefs are proving that wrong, I guess. And I'm not a fan of that. I think, unfortunately, the Chiefs will win.
Yeah.
I think Patrick Mahomes has proven that he's the guy in those big games. And I typically, my main sports digest is Around the Horn and Pardon the Interruption.
Okay.
When I get home, if my kids aren't watching like Spidey and His Amazing Friends or something.
I mean, I can get behind that though.
There's some good shows that they watch. But if I can get the TV, that's what I'm watching. And everybody that I've heard talk since the conclusion of the conference championship games has basically reiterated the same thing. Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady. I mean, he is the reincarnation, so to speak, of Tom Brady in those big moments, and he's tough to beat.
Yeah.
And having a coach like Andy Reid behind him calling those plays, having some of those big name players to throw to, one of the best offensive lines in the league, I think. I mean, they have a lot of things going for them.
Yeah.
It'll be a really interesting game. I think it might be one of the better Super Bowls that we've seen.
I hope so.
In years past.
I remember thinking back and actually looking at my time hop recently, going back to tweets that I had of the, I think, 2012 season when the Ravens went on to beat the Niners in the Super Bowl. And I had a tweet that said something like, this was the best playoffs I've ever seen in my couple decades of life, and the Super Bowl did not disappoint. And I think you're onto something. This game feels like it could rival that game. But yeah, I tend to agree with you. I definitely I'm rooting for the 49ers. But I think the Chiefs are going to win solely for the fact that I thought the Ravens were definitely the team to beat. I didn't know who could beat the Ravens. I didn't know how any team would figure that out. And the Chiefs made them look like the Lions of old, Yep. So yeah, the Chiefs are the classic getting hot at the right time. They're just good.
Can we like now officially replace, they did a Vikings thing with, they did a Lions thing. Can we like, I mean, are the Vikings now like off the hook for that? Like,
I don't know, just because, the Lions totally essed the bed in the the second half of the NFC Championship game, but the Vikings have still done that more. They have still essed the bed more in the NFC Championship game than the Lions have. So it's trending that way, the way you want it to. But I still don't think. I think the Vikings are still the biggest face palm of the two teams, of the Vikings and the Lions in the NFC Championship.
Really,
game.
It's only the last two NFC Championship games that the Vikings have been in that it's been ugly. 2009. If you go back to 2009, right?
Yeah,
because that would be the third in our life. Well, not if you include 98, 99.
So you're forgetting. So there was 98, and then 2001, and then 2009, and then 17. 2001 was 41-0.
I do remember that. That was bad.
Yeah. Maybe
I'm off somewhere.
I could be off too.
I thought we were in one more NFC Championship game. What happened? What game was it when Kyle Rudolph walked us off in New Orleans?
That was against the Saints in probably...
Was that the divisional round?
That was the wild card round. That was Kirk's only playoff win as a Viking.
Okay.
Because then the next week, I forget where they went.
They lost.
Yeah, obviously. But they didn't make it to the NFC Championship game. The last NFC Championship game was started by Case Keenum.
Okay, well, let's just stick to all games post high school graduation for us, which is only two NFC Championship games. The Eagles in 17 we can forget about. That was awful.
I think the Vikings forgot they were playing in a game after that first drive.
Yep. Scored on the first drive and then nothing happened after that.
Yeah.
But I would say, and I would make the argument that the 2009 NFC Championship game was there, and had there not been egregious rule breaking happening behind the scenes, there could have been a different outcome there.
There were a few major problems. Bounty Gate being the most, I don't know, painful for Vikings fans to look back on. There was also a very controversial pass interference called on Ben Lieber that I don't agree was a pass interference. There was, Adrian had more than one fumbled in that game.
Fumbled a few times, yep.
And then Brett with the nail in the coffin to throw crossbody and just play hero ball when he didn't necessarily had to. He could have just run the ball for a few more yards and attempted a long field goal.
Yeah, but was he even thinking clearly at that point? I mean, he'd been hit so many times.
He was probably all hopped up on pain meds at that point too. A little bit of a tangent off this already. Little bit of a tangent. I think it was a couple years ago. Another Vikings podcast, the Norse Code podcast, with Arif Hassan and I forget the other guy's name. This is horrible. I hope they never hear this. But they did I think it was like an April Fool's Day episode where they did a live rewatch. They hit record on their microphones and they turned the NFC Championship game on the TV, and they just did a live reaction while watching that game, put it out as a podcast. It was almost therapeutic. Like, they meant it as a joke, and it definitely was. But they were also living through that pain as well. And I remember enjoying that episode. But yeah, I think the Lions got closer to winning and going to the Super Bowl than the Vikings have, just by being so dominant in the first half. But then they let Mr. Irrelevant come back and beat them. So,
I mean, we've seen a lot of those types of comebacks lately, though, in the league. Yeah, I've looked at the little thing behind you there a few times since we've kind of opened this conversation.
Yeah,
like, it's becoming more and more common, and I would wonder if the biggest comeback in NFL history that we have emblazoned on the wall here may not stand for much longer.
I mean, yeah, any record can be broken, but we'll always have that memory. And I don't know how much more it could be broken by. They were down by 33 points at half. I think at one point it was 36-0 or 36-3, and they came back.
That was a great game.
Yeah, was a great game.
Thanks for leaving, Brian. We appreciate it.
Although, I don't know. I think the Vikings host the Colts.
They do.
And I have already been approached about my interest in going to that game, and I responded very positively. So we might need to talk about a Skol hop trip to Minnesota and include, a whole posse, because we had a little bit of a posse last time we went, and that was pretty fun.
We sure did.
And I don't think it'll take too much arm twisting to get a friend of the show, Forrest, and his wife to come, maybe, and they may not be totally interested, but sounds like our friend Brian, Colts fan Brian, would love to go to that game.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll circle that one whenever the schedule comes out.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
That may also include my whole family as well, because I don't know how many opportunities I'll get to go to a game, so might as well make it count.
We did tell our girls that we would try to bring them to a game next year.
Yeah, there you go. Either way, maybe our podcast will explode and we'll be able to, out of nowhere, buy Viking season tickets, and we'll just change up all of our content from there.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Shout out all of our listeners that are about to find us.
Help us buy season tickets.
And give you content.
All right, let's you linked a little Super Bowl bet document here.
Yeah, it just kind of outlined some of the big bets that have already come to light so far, and some of the betting lines that are out there a little bit.
What are some of the more interesting ones for you? Because I don't bet. I probably won't ever. It's just a personal conviction of mine.
Yeah.
But you do, and I don't judge you for that. And you
I've been known to
enjoy.
make a $5 or $10 bet here and there.
Sure.
Nothing crazy. Never going to lose the house, but I like the idea of winning a bet here or there. We do have a friend or two that does make some what I would consider large bets, but they also hit every once in a while too. So yeah, I think as of right now, we're recording on the 5th of February. As of right now, the 49ers are favorites by 2 points.
2-point favorites.
Yep. And that's a little surprising to me. Usually Vegas is not very wrong. So yeah, we have both said that we think the Chiefs will definitely win. So that's kind of surprising that the Niners are still the favorite. But yeah, I know you printed off that article too. So some of the things that were interesting to me.
You want to see it?
Yeah. Were some of the individual bets. So most of them were individual bets on who would win MVP of the Super Bowl. And one that caught my eye right away is somebody made a $140 bet. So not nothing crazy. That Kyle Juszczyk would win the MVP at 750 to 1 odds. And if you don't know, that basically means for every dollar you would put down, it would pay out $750 if your bet won, if you won the bet. So a $140 bet pays out $105,000 if Juszczyk, a fullback, a very athletic and talented fullback, but a fullback if he won Super Bowl MVP. So kind of rooting for that one.
Probably need like multiple TDs.
Yeah.
At least one rushing, at least one catching, receiving.
And it sounds like you're describing Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
But
which might also indicate maybe he's out of the game. Maybe he's injured.
If Juszczyk has multiple TDs like that, then McCaffrey was either a decoy all game or he got injured early on. So yeah, I'm rooting for that bet. I will not make that bet myself because that sounds like just a waste of money. But hey, if it hits, that guy's going to look like a genius. There's been at least one bet. Somebody has put down $1 million at Caesars Sportsbook for the 49ers just to win the game. And they're at minus 120. So I don't know. Would it pay out 1.2 million? I don't know. Yeah, there's quite a few here. Somebody put $25,000 down on Kansas City running back Isaiah Pacheco to be Super Bowl MVP. His odds were a little bit not as flashy as Juszczyk, but he was at 40 to 1. So that $25,000, if it won, would pay out $1 million. There was, I think, one other one. But I'm not seeing it here.
It could be on this other page here.
Maybe. Oh, here's what it was. Caesars Sportsbook took a $100,000 bet on the coin toss hitting tails. Somebody from Michigan put $100,000 down on the coin toss being tails. So at probably around 50-50, that would probably pay out around $200,000. But still, that seems...
Tails for Taylor.
Hey, there you go.
Who might be in attendance?
Yeah, but I would assume.
I know there was some buzz because she's got a concert in Tokyo.
Oh,
I think like the night or two before. I think it's like Friday night, but there have been some conflicting stories. The most accurate I think I've heard and that I understand is that she will finish her show. Can you believe we're talking about Taylor Swift again?
It's what the people want.
Here we are.
That's what the people want.
Hashtag Taylor Swift. Follow our podcast, please.
Hey, if Taylor, we will have you on the podcast. We will welcome you with open arms. That'd be great.
Anyways, from what I understand, her show in Tokyo ends. She gets on a plane and she basically time travels across the international date line back to the same day. What is the Super Bowl day? The 11th?
Yeah.
Sunday the 11th. So I think her show in Tokyo is Sunday the 11th, but it would be early. and then she would fly to, where is the Super Bowl even? California this
It's
year?
in Vegas,
Vegas. Dude. That's right. Sorry. I had blanked for a second.
That's all right.
But she's going to fly back to the western side of the United States, which isn't that far from Japan.
Yeah, I
Could
don't
be
know
farther.
how long, like,
It's
just
probably
time-wise that
10
flight
hour
would take.
flight. I've been to Japan. But I went from Chicago to Seoul, Korea.
Oh, yeah, she would
And then
probably
Japan.
definitely have her own private.
Oh yeah. Anyways, she will like go back in time and relive February 11th all over again in Vegas.
I can just
to see the
picture
game.
her writing a song about time traveling to see the Super Bowl.
Gotta go back in
Yeah.
time. We just need to pull out Back to the Future stuff. It'll be great.
Or like on stage saying like, and technically right now I will be at the Super Bowl. You know, clockwise, if that's how it works. I don't know. But yeah, I can't say that I will be upset if Taylor Swift doesn't make it for the game. Lots of people might be. I don't know. The NFL might be upset if she doesn't make it, but I guess it's a storyline.
There have been some Taylor Swift related prop book offerings.
Oh, absolutely, there have been. Probably
Like-
something like how many times will she be shown on TV?
Probably a lot.
Yeah.
Will she make a surprise appearance in the halftime show with Usher?
I mean,
Maybe.
if she's there, I'm sure a conversation has been brought up about that. Yeah. I don't know. Good for her, though. I mean, you're talking about one of the most famous and popular people in the world. And it seems to be positive news. And, I mean, shoot, my 8-year-old daughter, Taylor Swift, has been a regular topic of conversation from her in the last few weeks. So, yeah. And it seems positive, so good for her. It's not really doing it for me, but there's tons of things I like that lots of people don't like, so that's fine.
We do like good beer.
We love good beer.
How's the beer treating you so far?
Oh,
over
it's
there?
treating me really well. I'm about to open my next one
Yep.
and add it to the football glass.
I'm gonna open my next one right now.
Yeah, all right.
It's a
should
good
we-
transition.
Yeah.
Where's your next one?
I gotta reach for it. Victor's hogging it over here.
All right, don't spill your current one.
Never. You know, every once in a while, I think, remember a friend in college? You may not remember. Sometimes random things hit me different, and I just remember them for the rest of my life, like Maggie.
They live rent free in your brain.
Yeah. But I do remember once or twice, a friend of ours in college would go on just aggressive, loud, enthusiastic rants about how we never, ever waste beer. Never. And like veins would start popping out of his neck like, no, we don't waste beer. And do you know who I'm talking about?
I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking about because I lived with him for 2 years.
And I just,
You're right.
anytime I've ever spilled even a drop, I immediately go back to, oh, he'd be so mad at me. He was joking, but his way of joking was like, is this dude joking? Like,
What's funny about
was-
that is I just spilled a little bit.
no, we don't waste beer.
I don't think he listens to the podcast, but we might have to share this part with him.
Yeah. It probably would mean a lot for him to know that he's made an impact on me. I do know he's probably still upset that we didn't have tandem weddings that he mentioned a few times.
Oh, yeah. He had a lot of good ideas.
We could just be sitting in dead silence, and he would just be like, "Hey, Austin, how's your toe doing?" I don't know. He would just say random things.
He is an aficionado for the awkward.
And I love it. And I'm sure
Yeah,
obviously he loves it too.
Oh yeah,
I miss that guy. It's
That
been a
is-
long time.
That is just part of his personality.
Last time I saw him was at the UNI basketball game
That's right.
we went to.
I went to a UNI basketball game.
How was
On
that?
Saturday? It was good. Other than the fact that UNI lost by 30 plus. Like
I did not know that.
it was like there was a magnet on the ball that repelled the ball away from the rim every time the Panthers shot the ball. It was terrible. They had like a 20% field goal percentage.
Yeah.
It was an ugly game.
That's why I'm a fan of the Vikings, because I don't like having my heart broken like that.
We have to immediately laugh.
Yeah.
Laugh after that one because, yeah. No, it was good though. It was good. We got to sit in some really good seats. We got to hang out with some friends that we hadn't seen in a while.
There you go.
Got the tour of good old Cedar Falls. There are some things that have changed, but also a lot of things that haven't. So, yeah, it was good stuff. It was a good little Saturday day trip up to the University of Northern Iowa.
Yeah, I'm repping the.
Yes, you are.
Our alma mater
like
right
it.
now. Yeah,
I like that sweatshirt a lot. It's
yeah,
nice.
I have it, or I got it right when my second child was born that Christmas.
There you go.
Yeah, I like it. All right, man. We got some more trivia.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hopefully do better than I did last week. That's my goal.
you did admirably last
I
week.
fell on my face.
Which question did you have last week?
I don't even remember because it was so bad.
Man.
I tried to block that out of my memory.
Because I did. What did I do? Pro Bowl quarterback. The last Pro Bowl quarterback for each team.
And then you did Madden
covers. Yeah.
And I don't even remember what I did.
Oh, you did.
It's over there.
Non-quarterback NFL MVPs
That's right.
since 2000.
That's a tough category.
Do you think you can answer that question right now?
Nope.
There were 4 of them. Do you remember what position they all were?
Running back.
Ah, there you go. Do you remember the Seahawks one?
He was the toughest one, I think.
Was he? I think you got it because the last one you got was LT.
Well, now you
LaDainian
just gave me
Tomlinson.
one.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to have you go through. We already did it. But, if you would have gotten the Seahawks one, then you definitely would have been fine.
Wasn't Marshawn Lynch, was it?
No. This was
I don't
this was
remember.
pre-Marshawn Lynch as a Seahawk. He may have been a Bill when Sean Alexander won MVP. But, yeah, it was Sean Alexander for the Seahawks.
Shows you how much I was paying attention.
And then Marshall Faulk for the Rams, and obviously good old AD himself.
Maybe could have gotten Marshall Faulk.
Maybe.
Because I remember watching The Greatest Show on Turf and Kurt Warner and
Torrey Holt, Isaac
Holt.
Bruce.
Oh, yeah.
Ricky Proehl's dad? Was it? No, Ricky Proehl's the dude. Who was the Viking that was a Proehl? Blake, yeah. Well, there's 2 Proehls bouncing around, right? Doesn't matter. All right, so we have a question for you and a question for me. And which one? There were the 17 cities.
Not 17, just 7.
There's 7 cities with multiple NFL teams. And then the 4 NFL teams without a Super Bowl appearance. And I forget how we decided to split this one out.
I'll take the 7 states with multiple NFL teams for $1,000.
Ooh, I cannot give you the prize if you win.
That's okay.
It'll be like whose line is it anyways, or the
You can just
points are made up.
You can bring the beer next week. How about that?
Deal. Skol. All right. I feel like we should give you another time limit.
7 states. It's not 7 cities. It's 7
Yeah, I
states.
misspoke earlier. So we're gonna go. We'll go 4 minutes again, just because it's easy and it's right here.
4 minutes.
And so, yeah, 7 states with multiple NFL teams
Okay.
currently.
Got it.
All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
New York.
Yeah, no. Actually, no.
New Jersey.
Okay.
I mean, are we going by where their stadium is located or their names?
This was where their stadium's located.
So New Jersey.
There it is.
Florida.
Yes.
California.
Mm-hmm. So you got
Texas.
4 more. So, yep, Texas, yeah. 3 more. Oh, man. Da-da-da-da. You're wasting time on beer.
Beer is how I think. Ohio.
O-H-I-O.
So I have 2 more, right?
Yep. There you have California, Florida, New Jersey, Ohio, and Texas. There are 2 more.
Hmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
One is very tricky. Like, I don't know if I would have ever really gotten the one.
Two NFL teams, stadiums in the same state.
Yeah, you're down to 2.5 minutes left.
I can get there, I think. It's not Georgia. It's not. I don't know if there's anything else in the South other than Texas and Florida.
Maybe, yeah.
Tennessee doesn't have more than one.
I will tell you, each area has an AFC and an NFC team. 2 minutes left.
Is Maryland one of them?
Ooh, yeah, the Ravens and the Washington
Commanders.
football team. That's the one that I don't know if I would have gotten.
Well, yeah, I was trying to think of where are the Commanders at, and then I'm like, I think they're in Maryland.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All right, minute 40 left. You can do this.
Is the other one super obvious?
I don't know. It is to 2 fan bases. I almost gave it away with the phrase, but both teams have had some pretty solid success over their lifetimes. Long established teams. Oh man.
I'm gonna feel
minute
dumb.
10 left.
I'm gonna feel dumb if I don't get this last one.
Yeah, because you've got California, Florida, Maryland, New Jersey, Ohio, and Texas. You guessed New York, but technically no on New York.
Historic franchises. Been around for a while. Can you give me a region?
45 seconds left. I don't know if I can give you a region. We'll go east of the Mississippi.
East of the Mississippi. All right, that's fair. That narrows it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri.
No, there are no Missouri NFL teams.
Kansas City is in Missouri.
I think they're technically... Oh, yes, you're right. Never mind. They're not in Kansas. They're in Missouri.
Kansas City, Missouri is the Kansas City, if you ask anybody.
It's like a big... You're wasting time doing
I know.
this. You have
I'm just trying to
15
make
seconds. Oh, I don't know if you can do this, Ev. 10
Probably
seconds.
not. That's all right.
You can do this.
Wisconsin.
No. Ew. Why is that even on your mind? 2, 1. Meh. All right.
What was it?
All right. So you got California. They got the Niners, Chargers, and Rams.
Yep.
You had Florida. They also have 3 teams, the Dolphins, Bucks, and Jags. You had Maryland, which you said was the Ravens and the Commanders. New Jersey, which are the Jets and Giants in the same MetLife Stadium. You had Ohio, which has the Browns and the Bengals. You had Texas, who has the Texans and the Cowboys. You were missing the home of the Eagles and the Steelers, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yep, you were close. You did pretty good. I don't know that I ever would have thought of Maryland. Like, yeah, when I saw that one, I was like, oh, man. Crazy.
I feel dumb. I do feel dumb.
You shouldn't. You did really good.
Pennsylvania. Come on.
Yep.
Yins. I don't even know how to use that word in context. I just know that they say that out there.
Yins?
Yins.
Is it like Pennsylvanians?
No, I think it's like y'all.
Oh.
But I guess I never put
Is that like a Dutch thing?
I'm Dutch, kind of.
Oh,
but
yeah?
I don't use that word.
Skol. We just offended like a ton of people.
Probably. We just alienated our whole audience in Pennsylvania.
We probably alienated 10% of our audience. So that one person can come back whenever they want.
Sorry.
All right. I'm up next. Do you know the question? It's on our...
You are going to name the 4 teams without a Super Bowl appearance.
Ever.
Well,
the Vikings do have 4 appearances, but they are on the list of teams without a Super Bowl victory. How much time are you going to give me?
You have the notes over there. I know you haven't looked at them, but I need to confirm that my answers are correct.
Oh, you want my notes?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. That confirms what I
Okay.
needed to know. All right. I'm going to give you 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay. I can do this.
And I'm not going to turn my ringer all the way up this time.
I don't know. Seeing the lights flash in your eyes, like, oh my gosh.
I did go back and watch that and laughed a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Ready? 2 minutes. And go.
All right. So, front of mind, I know the NFC North foe Detroit Lions have never won a Super Bowl.
That's correct. Nor have they ever been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, so sucks to suck, Lions fans.
We've been to 4.
Our team has been to 4 more than 2 decades before either of us were alive. So.
That's right. Still
so
better than you.
So the Detroit Lions, and then probably new teams, right? Newer teams, because I think the last like new team to win a championship was the Vegas Knights of the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep.
And this next one I'm thinking of, I'm not sure because did they move or were they fully new? And if they did move and were a different team before, would that have counted? I think it would have counted, but I don't know if they've moved. I'll just say it. The Texans.
The Texans are on the list.
Houston
Yep.
Texans.
And I think they were a new franchise. I think way back in the day, Dallas was the Dallas Texans, but that franchise moved, and I can't remember if they were. I don't remember. They moved
You're
somewhere.
eating up my time on purpose.
You're welcome. Go on. You have one more team, and you
All right.
have 30 seconds.
Oh, wow. Man. This is tough. Because I think it's not a new team. I think the Browns?
Yes.
Yes.
You got it. With 17 seconds to spare. We're going to turn this
turn
off.
that off before it scares the piss out of you. Oh, piss.
Well, yeah, so the Texans and the Browns are teams that have like had teams and then lost teams and then
Yeah, because Houston, they were the Oilers.
Right.
But then that team moved to Tennessee, where they were also the Oilers for a little bit.
But there was also a team called the Dallas Texans way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And the Browns were Cleveland and then moved to Baltimore and became the Ravens, and then a new franchise, also known as the Cleveland Browns.
Because the city of Cleveland retained the rights to, and history, I think, to that entire Browns organization.
Hopefully that move pays off for them one of these days. They can get a
Super just
Bowl
having
ring.
an NFL team. Their stadium's actually pretty sweet. I haven't been there for a game, but one time my dad and I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And if I remember right, the Browns Stadium and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame essentially like share a parking lot. Or like
Interesting.
Not just one single parking lot, because whatever. But we did walk next to the stadium and look at it. It's like a pretty cool outdoor, vast stadium in Cleveland. Which when I think of football areas, Ohio isn't the first of mind places that I think of.
Where
but
the Hall of Fame is.
Yeah. Yeah, because that trip we did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the NFL Hall of Fame, and then probably a couple other things. I don't remember. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Well, you did pretty good, and I had fewer answers.
You did better.
Yeah, but I had fewer answers.
I can improve. I'm going to pick the categories next time.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be great.
Next week we'll do some more. We will have the Super Bowl to talk about next week, so.
Yeah, but the Vikings aren't in it. I even tried to look like, can we talk about like former Vikings that are on teams?
Are there any former Vikings in the Super Bowl?
So yeah, there's at least on the Chiefs, I could think of 2 right off the bat.
Jerick
McKinnon, who his numbers aren't crazy, but he's kind of like a scat back, almost like a Darren Sproles type player. Still really good.
Yeah.
Still found a lot of success in Kansas City. But it's not like he's got any 1,000-yard rushing seasons. I think a year or two ago he had like 500 plus receiving yards. But yeah, he has appeared in, I think or one of the Chiefs' Super Bowl wins and one of their losses, and now he will appear in his third. Because I think he just came off the IR because he was injured most of the season, so he may be playing actually. So that's Jerick McKinnon. Another Chief who is a former Viking, Blake Bell, I think. Mm-hmm. Is it Blake Bell?
Sounds right.
Yeah, tight end. He spent one season with the Vikings, and it might not even been a full season. I think I looked it up. He had like 3 or 5 catches with the Vikings. So it's not like he's this iconic Viking that is now on another team. But he's been with the Chiefs for a few years. And, a good depth guy. Obviously, they have Travis Kelce, who, whatever you think about him as a, character, he's undoubtedly a very good tight end. So, but I think that was it as far as like.
I don't think there are any Niners that are former Vikings.
So the Niners, I did look today. They have a couple
practice squad guys.
Jesse Davis, who is a lineman, and I think he's been on the team the last couple of years. I didn't even realize he wasn't on the team anymore until I saw him. And now that I'm really thinking about it, he may be a Chief. But he's on one of the teams, and I think the practice squad, I think it's for the Niners. But T.Y. McGill, do you remember that name from last season? A Viking defensive tackle who made a couple of splashes. He may have even been on the team in the preseason and then got cut. I think it was last year he was with the Vikings, but not very long. And then after that, there might have been 1 or 2 other, guys, but I couldn't really remember. So it's not like we have this big story of former Viking Pro Bowl insert position here is finally getting a chance. On that 2012 Ravens team, you had, in that Super Bowl, you had a handful of former Vikings, because I'm pretty sure Randy Moss was on the Niners that year.
He was.
I know Matt Burke and Bryant McKinney were both offensive linemen for the Ravens that year. Mm-hmm. And there might have been 1 or 2 other ones, but even that year, it's like you got some big names on these other teams. Just not the case. Jerick McKinnon's probably the biggest.
And he was never the guy.
No, I think it was him and another guy the year Adrian essentially missed the whole year because of the child abuse off the field stuff.
Right.
Him and was it Toby Gerhart?
Yeah.
Not Latavius Murray, because he came in right after they...
Gerhart would have been a rookie, I think, that year, because I think that was the only year he really played for the Vikings.
I feel like Gerhart was before that, though. We should know this. We're a Vikings podcast. But it was Jerick McKinnon and another dude. But I just can't... Matt Asiata? Was that year?
That could have been.
Yeah. Oh, well. It's in the past. Nothing big happened. McKinnon's a former college quarterback for Georgia Southern. They did a triple option offense. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, all of that to say, not a whole lot in terms of noteworthy Vikings news moving forward. I mean, still the most noteworthy thing is what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, that quarterback decision or non-decision up until the draft is definitely the biggest ticking time bomb in Vikings news. And the thing is,
it's not even a non-decision. It is a decision, and somebody has to make one.
Yeah,
right.
But I mean non-decision.
No, I know.
If they go all the way up until Kirk's contract officially, expires with the Vikings without a signing, and even then there's going to be some gray area unless it's an overnight thing, Kirk Cousins the minute after free agency starts signs with the Steelers or whoever, that is the biggest ticking time bomb the Vikings have at the moment,
and everything else to me revolves around that. I mean, it's so much money. I mean, we're talking $90 million plus. To keep him, you keep him, you got to get rid of some other players, probably Daniil Hunter and others.
Keeping him makes it so that you can't, one, keep other guys like a Daniil Hunter, or even probably closes the door as far as the Vikings are concerned on like a Harrison Smith, without even giving Harrison the opportunity to publicly announce what he's going to do. And maybe that's a little reason why we haven't publicly had any news on him specifically. He did say, like, if I retire, you won't know. Like, I'm not going to tell everybody. But, I mean, that could be a domino that needs to fall. But yeah, I think and maybe that's why we haven't heard anything on Danielle Hunter either. Like, if you are going to sign Kirk, you're probably not going to sign Hunter. And we can debate till the cows come home on if it's a good thing, if we want them to, if we want them not to sign Kirk Cousins. I think on the field, both of us would absolutely say, like, yes, he is good and we want him as a quarterback, but it's the finances that, what can't you do if you do go with Cousins?
Well, even off the field, I mean, he's the type of guy you want. He is not the media eyesore that you want in your locker room. He's the darling child of the media almost. Yeah. And so, I mean, in a lot of ways, he's the guy that you want, but now he comes at a pretty hefty price tag. And yeah, I think it's unfortunate that Daniel Jones kind of set the market for elite quarterbacks, because I wouldn't consider him one.
No,
I haven't seen enough out of him to consider him a top 10 quarterback, and yet he's the 10th highest paid quarterback going into next season. And Kirk has every right to demand more than that, because he's played better than Daniel Jones. Yeah. Injury aside. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot we could continue to talk about, and I'm sure Vikings podcasts everywhere have,
that is the question,
ad nauseum gone round and round and round.
Yeah, we had Dustin Baker on last week, and if you paid attention to all of Dustin Baker's content outside of the Skol Hop, even most of it has at least revolved or mentioned Kirk Cousins, that talker, because it's the biggest talker in Vikings lore right now. Like, you can't really absolutely talk about anything else until there's some kind of an answer for that.
Yep. And I don't think the Vikings can head into free agency or the draft without answering that question. Yep. They have to address it, and that has to be the first thing they address. And then they address everything else in relation to that one decision. They keep Kirk, great. Now they have a slew of other decisions to make. Kirk walks in free agency, great. Now they have a quarterback to draft or somebody to pick up in free agency, and a slew of other decisions to make related to that as well.
Yeah.
So
I just keep coming back to only looking at numbers. If you sign Kirk to this reported $90 million contract, you're talking that is equivalent to 2 top 10, the entire contracts, 4 to 5 year contracts of 2 top 10 first round picks. Like that's kind of crazy. So, like, I don't know. I feel like they're going to draft a guy. I feel like Kirk, my gut tells me Kirk is going to play somewhere else next year, which for me as a Vikings like fan of what they do on the field, that kind of sucks. But like thinking about the best chance to win a Super Bowl before I'm in a wheelchair, I don't know. Maybe that's ultimately for the best. Yeah.
It all remains to be seen, I guess.
And we'll be here to talk about it.
We sure will. So where can they find us if they want to keep listening to us and all that we have to say and our expert knowledge of Vikings football?
Everywhere. That's the short answer. If you just Google the Skol Hop, SKOL, the Skol Hop, you will find us. We've got a website. We have just about every social media that matters. We're relatively active on at least the big social medias.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Yep.
You'll find us there. TikTok, of course.
Definitely, if you're more of a fan of visual podcasts, head on over to YouTube or Spotify. You can watch and listen to our podcast on both YouTube and Spotify. Yeah, I mean, we're everywhere, down to if you want to interact with us directly through email, theskullhop@gmail.com. we will respond. And we still have stickers. We kind of died down on this talk a little bit, but we have a giveaway t-shirt that we'd love to give away. I think when we first announced it, we said that we would like officially announce the giveaway right after the Super Bowl. And here we are. It's right before the Super Bowl and we haven't even discussed it. So we'd love to give that shirt away. Send us an email. Tell us why you deserve that shirt. It's just a nice, awesome, good quality purple shirt with our big logo on the chest.
And we can extend a deadline.
Yeah. I mean, So that's kind of me saying like that deadline is also no longer today. So
it's fluid.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
I'm a high school English teacher. I extend deadlines all the time.
There you go.
So
also where you can find us is hopefully in the not too distant future, you'll be able to find us in person at some Iowa breweries. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And if you are an Iowa brewery, hit us up. We don't mind driving. We definitely don't mind drinking some good beer. And we'd love to do our best to feature solid Iowa breweries in any way we can through the podcast or TikTok or anything.
That's right. Speaking of, how are we sitting with the Cloud Trippin Hazy IPA?
Well, I'm not tripping, but I don't think that's what they mean. I like it. I like it a lot. It's really good. Like this is hitting really good for me.
I wish I knew more about beer, and I'm hoping to learn more about beer as we maybe get into brewing someday. But I don't know. I don't have good enough adjectives to describe this. This has grown on me in the last hour and a half. I feel like when I first took a sip, I was like, that's different. And I don't know how I feel about it yet. And now here I am thinking like this might be one of the better hazy IPAs I've had.
Well, and I don't think you'd be offending anybody by saying a certain category of beer is not your go-to. Like I do not go to the s'mores porter type beer. That's not my wheelhouse.
Nor do I.
However, I've definitely had some really delicious porter beers or s'mores beers. While this is dead center right in my, go-to category of beers, it's okay if it's not like you're 100%. I'm glad you like it enough that it sounds like you're gonna definitely be more open and willing to grab one of these types of beers off the counter again.
Yeah, for sure. I like this a lot, and I've had a little bit more than you have at this point.
Well, if you really pay attention to the episode, I've done a lot more talking. I'm sorry to our listeners that have heard more of me than you should.
You're smarter than me, so
you're a teacher, so there you go. Just right off the bat.
If you can't teach, that's what they say.
Sure. Well, and I can't teach or do, so I just work for the government.
That's what my tax dollars go towards.
Yeah. And they go towards you too.
That's right.
All right, man. All that to say, Cloud Trippin', it's fantastic. I will definitely grab this again. It's not just making the list because it's an Iowa brewed beer. It's really good. I like it a lot.
And we may have to make the relatively short trip up to Clinton sometime.
Yeah, great Revivalist. Let's go.
Check it out.
Let's go. Even if we're not recording anything, I'd like to go. I kind of want a t-shirt for all of these breweries that we're trying. That's my goal.
It's a good idea. Well, we'll work on that, and we'll definitely feature a different Iowa beer next week. We're going to have another episode coming out next week, so make sure you check us out. And, yeah.
Till next time.
Skol. Skol. Hey Vikings fans, Evan here from the Skol Hop, and we just wanted to say thank you again so much for listening to the Skol Hop, and we also wanted to take one more opportunity to let you know that this episode of the Skol Hop has been brought to you by Big Top Ventures. If you're considering taking an all-inclusive trip to either Mexico or Jamaica, reach out to our friends at Big Top Ventures at bigtopventuresllc@gmail.com. Once again, that's bigtopventuresllc@gmail.com. You can get the lowest rate possible on several all-inclusive resorts throughout the region. Big Top Ventures. Step right up to your next big adventure.
And thanks again for listening to the Skol Hack. Skol.